The meta on YouTube is changing. The Pokemon market is so back. In fact, we never even left. Investing in Pokemon is the blue chip of TCGs. If you invest in Pokemon, you will see, like for the long term, you will see gains, okay? You will see the products that you hold go up in value over time, like clockwork. We see it for decades now in the space. I'm flexing this Blooming Waters because I believe in 151. This is an unironic, non-clickbait, super serious video. In fact, you guys can't see this, of course. One Piece, get out the way. Make room for the king, 151. Not fully in frame, but it's in our hearts, and you will admire this box this entire video. My name is Matt. I'm with RAR TCG. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is an unironic, positive video towards the Pokemon market. Are we ready for this type of content? Let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know your thoughts. Honestly, do you think the Pokemon market is in a healthy spot right now? Do you think that we are in a good place as a hobby? Do you think Pokemon TCG is as strong as it's ever been before? Or are you still hoping for prices to decline even further, for them to correct and for us to truly turn and go into a bear market? Let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions, but as always, dislike the video, whatever you want to do, and jump down in the comment section and let's talk about it, guys. I want to help you guys. I want to help myself critically think and analyze the market, critically think and analyze the data, not just from a PokeTuber kind of way or perspective, but from a true perspective of someone that's in the hobby, that loves the cards, loves the characters, and is in this for the long term, wants to see some financial gains in the products that I'm holding. So let's talk about it, guys, and let's dive in. I do unironically think that the Pokemon market is in one of the healthiest places it's been in the last 12 to 18 months, okay? For the last year to year and a half, we have seen nothing but arrows pointing upwards, and we're finally in this lull where prices have corrected downwards a bit. We're definitely nowhere close to MSRP on anything. But there are a couple sets. We're going to look at some data, guys. I'm going to look at some data and improve my points with the data, because the data that I pick only paints the picture I want it to paint. But, because we're looking at the data, I'm so smart. I'm so wise. I'm so nostalgic. Anyways, I'm going to stop there. You'll get where I'm going with that. Anyways, the data is the data, right? But what happens when the data you pick is only picked to prove your side of the story, your perspective? Is it truly unbiased data? Okay, I'm off the soapbox. Let's go ahead and go forward. But yeah, guys, we are going to look at some opportunities that I think are in the market right now that you may or may not want to jump on. I just think it's interesting, some boxes and some packs at a price point that are very interesting and exciting for me. And then we're also going to talk about whether or not this state of the hobby right now is healthy or unhealthy. Because honestly, I think it's a nuanced conversation, and I could see how me and you could have differing opinions. And that's what I really want to dive into and have a serious conversation. For me personally, there's a teeter-totter. Is that's the word, right? There's this scale in my brain that goes on one side and on the other all the time. So I'm going to give you a case for why I think Pokemon is in a super healthy and positive kind of state. And then I'm going to also give you and share some of my thoughts on why I think we're still not quite there yet, and we have some room for improvement. So I think that we are in a super healthy spot right now because prices have corrected. I remember Rudy for months and months, maybe for this entire year, at least for the last 6 to 8 months, Rudy has been calling for some sort of large correction in the market because things going up at a parabolic rate are not healthy in the long term. Yes, TCGs, collectible markets see that type of movement quite regularly, but when things shoot up parabolic and then they don't ease off, then that creates a really weird situation where you really could be in a bubble and things could get really sticky really quick, okay? And we don't want that for Pokemon, okay? I know some people out there, maybe you're watching this, you really, really, really want Pokemon to go to zero because you want packs to be available, laying on shelves and all of that. But if you really think and carry that thought process to its like fullest extent, then what that means is that the consumers no longer want Pokemon. And if consumers in demand no longer want the packs and the cards and the Pokemon to collect or play the game, then that truly, spells out disaster for Pokemon. And this IP that you want to have so badly and you want it to be so readily available, if it's in that sort of state, then you're at risk of even losing Pokemon in general. Okay, like Pokemon could disappear. Like, is that really what we want to happen? No, we want demand to stay strong. We want consumer behavior and purchasing to stay strong. We just need enough supply on the market to satiate demand, at least get close to it. Remember, like the collectibles market, I know a lot of people say it's for the kids, think about the kids, what about the kids? But listen, I want to do a whole video on this. Let me know if you guys like this like train of thought, those of you that are 6 minutes into the video. I really think that if you look at what Pokemon is, Pokemon went global with its popularity in the 1990s, in the 1900s, guys. That was over 30 years ago. I know because I was there and I'm a boomer, okay? This concept of Pokemon cards only being for children. Pokemon is a children's hobby. It's a children's show. It's a children's IP. Is so, I'm going to say it's asinine. Ooh, big word. It actually, asinine just means it's ridiculous. It's like so ridiculous, it's crazy. The fact is that Pokemon is a multi-generational hobby at this point that attracts people from all different ages, cultures, like all of that. Like Pokemon resonates with people of all different ages. And in fact, the core like people that love, cherish, and engage in Pokemon are people like me and then people in the generation after me, okay? Like this whole wave of Pokemon, and like Pokemon's been so good at expanding their audience base, their fan base, expanding the IP with every generation that releases. There are Pokemon and characters that people relate to. Like I have kids, and like one of my kids really relates to Pokemon Horizons, really likes Liko, really likes Sprigatito. Like those characters and those Pokemon will stick with the newer generations. And as those generations grow older and you start to have money of their own, what cards, what Pokemon will they relate to? I understand that we're all about Charizard right now. We're all about Pikachu. I'm all about Piplup, to be honest. But, you guys want the B tier Pokemon like, Pikachu or like Charizard? You guys can have that. I'm going to take the Piplups. We need more Piplup love out there. If you agree, leave a penguin emoji down below. But anyways, this idea that Pokemon is just for children is so crazy to me, and I really don't think people are truly thinking about it, okay? From like professional players of the TCG, from players of the video games, from people that collect and that show up at card shows, you can tell it's a multi-generational hobby. Should there be packs available for kids, and should we think about that? Of course. I'm not anti-kids, man. I'm just saying that you have to have a more full and holistic outlook on the hobby, and I'm raging. I'm crashing out right now. But let me know if you resonate with me with that and you'd like to hear more of my full thoughts on that, because I've really been thinking about that. Like it's not just for the kids, guys. It's really not. And Pokemon knows that. The way that Pokemon is advertising, the way that Pokemon is putting product out there, they know exactly who their target demographic is, and they know exactly who is spending the money on their product. And they know exactly how to create artificial scarcity with how much they're printing to where that's becoming a real issue. Because, anyways, the collectible markets, a lot of companies do this like artificial scarcity, okay? What they're doing is they're printing just enough for enough people to get their hands on the products where other people will look at that and say, I wish I had that. That's the whole reason we have rarity. That's why every card in your pack isn't an SIR, you know what I mean? The rarity, the chase, the haves versus have-nots, all of that creates what Pokemon cards are and how amazing they are. Okay, like that's a huge piece of the puzzle. That's a huge ingredient to the cake. Anyways, I'm going to cool off. But yeah, I think Pokemon is super healthy right now. I love the corrected prices. I think that certain sets are at such an approachable spot right now. I actually took some notes and I left my little note card here. It's right here. This is a little bitty note card anyways. Okay, so guys, I want to call out some data here because you know PokeTubers love to call out the data, and if you don't show a graph on screen or something, like you're just cooked, like you're a bad content creator, right? Anyway, so here's 3 sets that I think are very, very curious that you may want to be looking at if you're looking at buying packs to open. I always like to present that perspective as well, because I know not everyone that's engaging with Pokemon content online is necessarily some sort of crazy investor that wants to be the next Alpha Investments or Nostalgianomics. The fact, Nostalgianomics doesn't even deserve to be in the same sentence of Alpha Investments in terms of investor. I love Alex and his content. I'm just saying that was kind of crazy for me to put them in the same content, the same sentence. Anyways, my bad. I apologize. Let's keep going. So I got 3 sets here. These are going, I'm just going to tell you right now, from newest to oldest. Journey Together, Surging Sparks, and Stellar Crown, okay? There may be other pockets of sets and stuff that you can look into. I'm going to give you the criteria for why I think these are good sets to go after. Not in an investment standpoint necessarily, but like to look at, to open, to look at, to engage with, to look at, just to enjoy the hobby. Not to mention, we're going to talk about investing angle of it in just a second. But here's why I think that is. These sets are all, like single packs, are all at or below $6. That is getting extremely and interestingly close to MSRP. MSRP is still like, what is it, between $4.99, $4.50 to $4.99. It's between $4.50 and $5, okay? So we're talking that these packs are like literally just, you know, just 50 cents above, $1 above MSRP. And because of that, I think that the approachability of these sets is much more attractive right now to just casual people in the hobby. And I hear you guys. Every time I talk about surging positively, there's at least 1 or 2 people that jump in the comments and you guys are like, Surging Sparks is so bad. It's a bad set, bro. It's a bad set. Like, I get it. It's not the hypest set, but like, these sets that are out but still in their print window, like they are important, okay? Because of this artificial scarcity and really inorganic scarcity that we're dealing with right now because of scalpers, because of the lack of supply hitting the market. Like these type of opportunities are so good for people to stay in and enjoy the hobby. Not everyone has heavy bags and can just be like spending money left and right on ripping ships and all these other things. You can spend your money however you want to. There's no judgment from me at all. But here's the deal. We need cheaper sets. We need cheaper and more available, approachable sets that people can go to so they can keep filling up binders, so they can keep trying to pull those chase cards and enjoy the hobby. And I love that Pokemon has printed enough to keep these sets somewhere, you know, reasonable, okay? I wish that we would see this more across the board, and we'll get to more of my negative thoughts in a second. But here's what we're talking about. Stellar Crown is still holding at $6. This is actually the most expensive pack we're talking about, and it might be like out of these 3 sets, in my opinion, Stellar's the weakest. But I wanted to call it out because it's holding true right at $6. This is, I do believe $6 is a pretty good price for Stellar, and I'm hesitant to say this on the front end, but I'm just gonna say it. All of these things I'm talking about, you can, like, this is TCG Marketplace, okay? These are the prices on the marketplace. If you go to your Facebook marketplaces, if you go to a more local, like, setting to buy things, you are not having to pay full market price. You can put out a 70% offer. You can put out a 75, 80% of market, offer. And all of a sudden, at 80%, you're going from $6 like down to $5, sub $5. Now, will someone accept a 80%, offer on 20 loose packs? I don't know. You'd have to negotiate. But what if you went 90%? That's 60 cents off of $6. You're looking at $5.40 per pack. That is such an amazing and attractive price for me, honestly. I like when I go places, if I have to when I go to my LGS, a lot of their packs are listed at $6 per pack. I don't mind paying $6 per pack. Like, that's not a crazy scalpery price to me. And then being able to purchase these at a little bit less than for a percentage of market on the second on Facebook Marketplace and other places, that's a no-brainer to me. Like, this is such a good opportunity for people that just want to open packs, or if you want to hold loose packs. We're gonna talk about that in a second. So that's Stellar right at $6. Surging Sparks is the second most expensive at $5.50. I think it's like $5.54, but I rounded down. Guys, Surging is such a cool set with the Latios chases, with a Pikachu. My favorite card in that entire set is actually the Ceruledge IR. I have a couple copies, but there's certain cards, guys, for me as a collector. I just want to be honest, open, and vulnerable with you guys. There's certain cards that I just wish I had 100, 200 copies of, not because I think they're going to double, triple, quadruple in price in a year, but because I just would love to look at them. I would love knowing I have an ETB full of Ceruledge IRs. For example, I have over 50 Piplup IRs, both in English and Japanese. I love knowing that I have an army of Piplups, okay? If that makes you uncomfortable, like you're like, that's weird, why would you collect that way? I don't really care. Okay, like much love to you. I appreciate you being here, but like that's how I like to collect like specific cards. That's on like I have a card right here. This. You see this? This is a Hollow Energy from 151. You don't even want to know how many of these I have, okay? I love Hollow Energies and I just want all of them. Not literally, but I want as many of them as I can reasonably get. So anyway, so that's how I collect certain things, especially when I really like it. I fixate on the card. I fixate on the energy or whatever. Like, that's just what I do. Let me sound off down below if you have like weird like collection tics like that. Like, let me know, because I can't be the only one out there, right? I can't be. So Surgings is $5.50, and then Journey Together is $5.45. Journey Together has been lower because I think they released some single packs on the market. It's also a smaller set, so like hobby sentiment and focus has shifted from Journey Together quite quickly. But Journey Together is a beautiful set. I love all the top chase cards, the SIRs, IRs. It's a beautiful set with some of our favorite trainers. It's just really, really good. So I just would not sleep on some of these opportunities here from a single pack standpoint. Now, there's a couple things I want to talk about here. One of the things that's propping up the secondary market in Pokemon right now is the lack of a booster box reprints. So many of your Pokebro, Investor Bro content creators only fixate on the booster box, okay? That's like the main conversation piece that they have. I understand it because like what they're saying is true, guys. If you want the blue chip item of investing, if you want the item that you should put in your closet and hold for the long term, it is the booster box. These guys are not lying to you. They're just saying the same thing every day, and it's getting annoying to me, okay, personally. Personally, if you like that content, I watch it every day. I'm not going to lie. But it's getting annoying. It's getting old. It's getting stale. Here's the deal. Box prices are elevated. What does that mean for the long term of Scarlet and Violet? Well, for early Scarlet and Violet, maybe there won't be much of an impact. But for some of these later sets going into Mega, this could have a drastic impact on how quickly and how long it takes for these sets to appreciate. There is more risk inherently involved in the newer, more in-print sets. You have to understand that. Not enough people are shouting that from the rooftops. You gotta be careful. If you're gonna drop $400 on Destined Rivals booster boxes and you're going to deploy thousands and thousands of your hard-earned dollars towards something, you have to think about the downside. And for something like Destined Rivals, for Mega Evolutions, for all of these newer sets, you have to understand that the downside risk is quite high. Do you want to do that? That's totally up to you. Will Destined Rivals perform well over the long term? Yes. Are there a ton of people right now feverishly typing in the comments that Destined Rivals will not drop down to $350 ever again? Maybe. Like, I get those comments a lot. I understand you guys love Destined Rivals. It's a great set, guys. I love it too. I'm just saying there's more inherent risk with it if you're going to deploy a large amount of capital. Maybe you want to look at older sets. Right now, you got $5,000. You want to put that all into Destined Rivals, or do you want to look at some of these Sword and Shield sets and boxes that are still at, somewhat affordable prices? Maybe you're buying a couple less boxes, but like it's way safer, guys. Don't miss out. And don't panic sell those boxes, guys. But here's what I want to talk about. There's a little bit more data, and then I'm going to transition to why I'm going to wrap up my thoughts on why I think we're in a really healthy market, and then go into the negative. So Surging Sparks booster box is at $250. And Journey Together's booster box right now, market price is $230. These are still elevated prices. We are still very much above MSRP. So I want to say that. But I honestly think that like being above MSRP as a market is just an indicator that we're still in a bull run. Like we're still in that hype market and we can't discount that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. These prices are very much elevated, but are they parabolic like they were in October? Not so much, right? Like it's a little bit more approachable. But here's the real key thing I'm trying to throw out there is if you have some money and you want to buy and pick up some booster boxes for investment purposes, do not buy on TCG Player. Just in general, do not purchase things from TCG Player that you're looking to like invest in. I understand like you can make exceptions. You could do that for sure. But listen, there are people willing to take 80%, 85% of market on Facebook Marketplace. Is it more work? Yes, it is more work. Do you have to negotiate? You have to have some people skills. You have to talk to other people. You have to meet up and spend gas and time. Yes. But listen, if you're able to pick these boxes up at 80%, at $250 for something like Surging Sparks, you may be able to do a deal on a couple boxes at $200 per box. That's only like that. What is that? Like $30, $40 above MSRP? Like, and you have to think about, like, you have to pay shipping on top of that from, even if you were buying at MSRP, you'd also have to pay shipping and like, you have to do all of that. And so like just $200 is not a terrible price for jumping into the long-term hold. Okay. That's my only argument there. Now, when we go to Journey Together, the enhanced booster boxes, which were the more readily available and printed versions of the boxes, are $230, $20 cheaper than Surging. Again, at $80, you could pick up a case at 80% of market on box. I didn't check case prices. Maybe you're able to pick up 4 or 5 boxes. Let me rephrase that for all you super hyper data people. So maybe you're able to pick up 4 or 5 boxes, loose boxes, at 80%. Well, at that point, you're only paying $184 per box. Like, that is an amazing opportunity. Will this opportunity be in the market for the next, for a long time? Possibly, if freaking Pokemon could actually print things, right? I still got my fingers crossed and do believe that we will see a booster box reprint on the horizon. I don't know when it will happen. I don't know what sets it will be, but when that happens, market sentiment in the secondary market will be shaken, okay? It will really shake out a lot of those, the bad apples that are just hanging on by a thread. Like, those people will fall. The dominoes will fall whenever we get some sort of substantial, significant booster box reprint. And I do think that Pokemon will do that eventually. But again, to wrap up my thoughts on the market being positive, we're still elevated. We're still very much in a bull market right now. Things have corrected. I do believe still that there is downwards momentum in the market and the hobby. I think that's healthy. What I would ideally like to see, I've said it in multiple videos, I'm going to continue to say it, is I would love to see a market somewhere between 10 to 20% above MSRP. So that really has box prices somewhere closer to 200 to maybe 220, which a lot of boxes are still sitting 250 and above right now. For a lot of sets that aren't even that desirable. Literally, it's just a scarcity event that we're having right now. And that's what's propelling this market and the secondary behavior of the market. So I really am hoping for that. I would really love that. I think it'd be healthy for the market. I would love to see prices more around that 10% above MSRP, which really puts, boxes kind of, once you pay for tax and everything, you're going to be right around above $200. But I think that's a desirable, attractive price for a booster box. It's not that bad, is what I'm trying to say. But we want, again, to my earlier point, we want a strong market, okay? A strong market, high demand, high sell-through rate shows that Pokemon is very much alive, very much on top of its game, and very much continuing on into the future, okay? That is all good things. So let's go ahead and pivot. I promise my thoughts on the negative sides will be shorter, okay? We're not going to spend another 25 minutes here, which means we're about halfway through the video. Let's drop a little Rudy. I'm going to drop my notepad here. There are aspects of the current market that I think are still negative. Number one is the fact that prices are still very high. Okay, I'm doing like market research. I'm looking at the data, right? I love data, by the way. I love researching it. And I'm looking at all these box prices. I'm looking at pack prices for sets that nobody really wants. Like, look at Shrouded Fable, okay? Shrouded Fable is like a $8 to $9 pack on any given day. That is insane to me. Like, nobody wants that pack. It's a cool set. It's got awesome, sick reverse hollows. I love those things. The hollow energies are sick. I own a lot of those. Anyways, but here's the deal. I just really like, that's not good. Like, that's not necessarily a healthy indicator, okay? These less desirable sets, because they're less desirable, should be at the lower end of whatever the secondary market setup is. Obviously, scarcity plays a role in that, and you can make that argument that, hey, Pokemon knew Shrouded Fable was going to be less desirable, so they printed it less, therefore you have higher prices. Sure, I get that. What I'm saying is more of a like big picture, metaphorical, like apply it across the board statement rather than just looking at one specific set. So just take that for what it is. I'm just saying in a general statement, I do think that prices would have a lot of room to go down and for us to be more in a healthy spot. But yeah, anyways, I do think that prices are still elevated to a point where a lot of retail arbitrage / scalping is still happening. There is still margins to be made for people, and they're gonna do it until they can't do it anymore. The large correction we saw probably weeded out a lot of the lower end scalpers that like maybe were waiting in line, all of that kind of stuff. But these people that are scalping at scale, like they are fine right now. And that to me is like retail arbitrage will always happen. Okay, I just want to throw that out there. A lot, like I have had some comments, you guys saying like, oh, why are you being so nice to scalpers? Listen, these like people involved in retail arbitrage, which is buying stuff at retail and flipping it on the secondary market, eBay, TCG Player for whatever profit they can get. That's always been around and will always be around, okay? That is just a fact of life. And when things happen where demand surges, supply is not able to keep up, then these people are gonna jump in because there's money to be made. That is part of what they do to survive. Now, do we dislike that? Of course. Like we would love to have product available for people that actually like, enjoy, and collect the product. But I like to be more of a pragmatic person. Like, let's be realistic. Like, it's gonna be there. So we have to learn how to navigate around it. And there's a lot of different ways you can navigate around it. Support your LGS, as long as they're not scalping and charging crazy prices too, right? You can wait. You don't have to buy. You don't have to participate in the hobby. Look for sets like a Surging. Look for these like kind of corners of the market where people are not as interested in right now because of reprints and restocks and things like that. It's just, you got to do a little bit more work to find the better deals, but they're there. I'm going to close out with this thought. It's more related to the investors watching, any investor bros, long-term holders. Booster boxes to me, like ultra modern booster boxes, are not very approachable. I don't like the downside risk potential of them. But what I wanted to call out is single packs. The rise of the rip and ship. Rip and ships are not going anywhere. I think that they're going to be part of the hobby for the foreseeable future. Now, some of you guys may hate that, but I think that that's a fact of reality as well, being pragmatic. These cheaper pack prices, if you can find a deal for them and you have money, obviously, like don't be spending your life savings on Pokemon, guys. Don't go into debt for Pokemon. But listen, if you can purchase like, whatever quantity of packs you want to, then you now have some sort of item that you can carry on into the future. And as that appreciates, you could look at selling that on the secondary marketplace, but you could also look at moving that to a rip and shipper. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, especially for a set like Surging. People are going to want to open that Pikachu in the future. I think that set is a good one. I think it's strong. I think it's got some, high class, high profile Pokemon in it that people would love to, collect in the future. So I'm not telling you to go out and spend everything on Surging Sparks packs and hold them for the long term, but I'm saying that you should at least consider it. I think it's at least worth considering. And so, yeah, guys, don't sleep on that. If you're an investor, and you can't engage with the current prices of booster boxes, that's okay. Look for other opportunities, okay? That's one of the reasons I brought out the Blooming Waters box. when it comes time to sell this box, do you guys think I'm going to sell this box? No, chances are I'm going to sell the packs inside the box. This thing is a nightmare to ship. I've shipped, I haven't shipped this exact box before, but I've shipped some of the other large like collection boxes in like just my business and selling, and they suck, okay? This also isn't a very cool display piece. Some people would disagree, but I honestly think there's a lot cooler products out there, okay? But yeah, I'm going to close it out. I didn't realize this video is going to be 30 minutes, but I'm so curious to hear what y'all's thoughts are on the current market. Do you guys think the market is healthy or healthier now? Or do you guys think that we need to see a crash? We need to see a bull market to really have things reset and correct? Because sometimes when I get real frustrated at things, that's what I want to happen. Let it all fall down. Let all the dominoes and cards fall. But honestly, I think we are in a more healthy spot, but we're very much in a bull market right now. And I'm hopeful that maybe 6 months to a year from here, we're going to see things normalize even further, because there's a lot of downside, lot of downside risk for newer ultra modern sets. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys for the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below. Peace.